Hi everybody, it's Bill again. And I've made this before, I know, but I'm going to do it in kind of a different manner. The name is the same, just some of the tricks have changed. Basically, I want to make a cream of tomato soup, and I think I kind of rushed through it last time and didn't really explain some things fully, so I want to kind of go back and talk about some of the stuff. I must be turning Italian because I'm like talking with my hands all the time. Anyway, you know, because to me, cream of tomato soup is so easy to make. It's so good. You know, I'll make a big pot of it and I'll have sandwiches with it 3 days that week. I mean, it's just it's a perfect food, okay? And you can't go wrong. I mean, it is just so easy. So, first of all, I need to have a couple yellow onions that I cut up. And we're going to use the immersion blender so it doesn't have to be finely chopped. I don't think I used it in the last one because I think I chopped everything pretty fine and just cooked everything a long time. So I want like 2 onions and I want a couple big carrots. Well, I buy these in matchsticks in a bag. So I basically want about half as much carrot as onion. It doesn't hurt to have more. You know, baking is a science, cooking is an art. You know, we all say that because you really can't go wrong. And the thing you gotta remember is the carrot, the sweetness in the carrot, especially because we're gonna saute it here, is really gonna cut the acid of the tomato. Really gonna smooth this all out. And that way we're just putting a little bit of cream, or well, half and half in the end. Alright, I know my pot's getting hot and waiting. Like I said, I know this looks like probably a lot, but remember, we're going to get the immersion blender out and you want all those flavors in there. Let's give this a little stir. And I had about 3 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm looking just to make sure that I got enough. You don't want to have this all stuff drowning. We're not deep frying it. Just enough to kind of coat the bottom and let this all get happy. And we're going to add some garlic, but remember, like I always say, we don't want to kill the garlic. We don't want to burn the garlic all up. So we really want to get, and what I'm kind of waiting for is I want to smell that carrot start to perfume and just get really, really sweet and smell wonderful. And the onion's going to get some translucent. See to it. Also, before I forget, this kills me. Alright, I gotta put some black pepper in here. Don't be shy, I'm making a pretty big pot of soup. Okay, perfect. I smell it all coming together. Oh yeah, carrot's just like, oh, makes you so happy. So a couple things here. You know, it goes through my mind, if I gotta go shopping today to figure out what I'm gonna have with this, is, you know, basic grilled cheese sandwiches. Well, what do you like to put in your grilled cheese sandwich? You know, I've done some, talked about it before, and I think I've showed some. You know, when I was growing up, we only had American cheese and white bread, but I love just the fact of having a slice of tomato in my grilled cheese sandwich. You know, nothing fancy. And then I got a Peanuts cookbook when I was in 6th grade, and they put relish and tomato and ham, I think it was. So I used to make my mom buy ham for that. Or bologna. Mom would say, use bologna, same thing. But you know, now I love to experiment with different cheeses. Bacon's good in it, avocado's good in it. You know, can't go wrong. I haven't really crossed over yet and gone into like the braised pears in my grilled cheese sandwich, and that's mostly I think because the soups I have with it. But you always want to remember that the hard cheese you want in the bread, because that's the hardest to melt, but it's also closest to the fire. And as you get into the center, you want softer cheese if you're layering different cheeses. And so let's say I'm putting bacon in, I put like some hard cheese like Swiss, then I put bacon, maybe another provolone or something on the inside, Gruyere or whatever, and then maybe I'd sneak a little avocado in the very middle, because guess what, in the very middle it's not going to get as hot. And you don't need a flamethrower to make a grilled cheese sandwich. And you want to keep your heat, you know, kind of medium low, depending on your stove, and just get that cheese melting and flip it. I've got this like thing all worked out with my stove that literally it's like 4 minutes aside, because I use a lower heat. And if you're having problems with the cheese melting all the way through, you know, I have a pizza pan. I flip it upside down on top of my fry pan just to kind of steam that cheese when you need to. Because I want my cheese melted, okay? Alright, now, I got garlic. Got about 3 cloves of garlic. It's kind of coarsely chopped because, like I said, I'm going to get the immersion blender in here after we get everything all happy. Alright, doesn't take long. I still smell the carrots, so I know we're on track. It's really smelling good. Okay, so don't want to let anything burn. I just want to let this cook a little bit, right? Because garlic does burn pretty quick and easy if you have the heat up too much. So you really, you know, I've tweaked it down just a little bit. I just want everything to start coming together. So one of the things is I'm going to turn it down real low here. Give it a stir. Get everything kind of softened up and ready. Because I'm going to show you something. I know I showed it in some videos, but I'm going to show it again. We're going to cut up some basil. We're going to make these little threads. It's called a chiffonade. So what I do is you stack them all up together. Yeah, roll them all. This is a pretty big one. And I want like a quarter of a cup. This is probably a little more than I need, but I really like the basil. And then you really just want to, nice thin, nice and slow, no fingers cut. Just making some nice thin little cuts. Because we're letting out all those essential oils of that basil. And I bet you there's a half cup here. So you can do as I say or do as I do. Like I said, I really like basil. Now, you gotta rinse your knife, so I'm gonna go rinse my knife real quick. And if I were cutting out the chicken or something, I wash my knife right now, right? Raw meat. Alright, this is perfect. Everything's just the way I want it. So, let's get started here. Got two 28 ounce cans of diced tomatoes. These haven't been fire roasted. Crank that heat back up. I'm going to bring that temperature down real quick. Now I'm going to go ahead and throw my basil in when everything's getting back to temperature. And in all fairness, that's about 1/3 of a cup. It wasn't a half cup. I could tell once I got it in my hand there. All right, I want 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Oh look, they shorted me a little bit. Ah. And I'll know better once I get this mixed together. That's enough, but that was 2 tablespoons, which is would have been about 1/3 of a jar or a can, but took a whole half of that big hole in the middle. All right, now 2 things. One is, sometimes I use honey, but in this case, the things that enhance flavor, salt and sweet. And in this recipe I want to keep it kind of pure, and I'm just going to use some white sugar because I don't want to bring in a whole lot of other flavors like you might have with your honeys or brown sugar even, but certainly use what you want, but please don't use artificial sweeteners. Alright, so just a teaspoon. This is a teaspoon for a big huge pot of soup. This is not, this is not going to kill somebody, alright? Alright, I want to get this a little mixed up. The basil's really smelling good. Basil, basil. And before I pour all the liquid in here, this is my kind of visual, like, do I have enough tomato paste? Which if I do, it's fine. Like I said, this looks kind of scary, lumpy, or chunky because of what it is, but don't worry, it's getting cooked down. So, I got my whole box. This is chicken stock. You can use vegetable stock. I'll buy vegetable stock if I have a purpose for it, but I always have chicken stock in the cupboard. I learned that because sometimes the store's been running out, and I do use a lot of stock. I love making soups and other things. Alright, so remember, if you pour upside down, it's not going to go glug glug on you. I gotta switch it around. Look at that. Whole box and not one glug. That makes me a true professional. Alright, so let me get this mixed so I can give you my true opinion. It's kind of funny. I've been using this pot for a lot of years. I mean, this pot's gone places with me, and I always know when all my measurements come out when I'm right below the rivets on the handle. And this is absolutely right below the rivets on the handle, so that's kind of funny to me. All right, so what do we need to do? We need to get this all nice and toasty. I need to get everyone happy, and we're going to do a little reducing. And we're going to smell it a whole lot because I want to make sure that this is the way it should be. And I know that, like I always ask, do you have childhood memories of some kind of soup? Like your mom always made split pea or soup after Easter. Did you have some kind of turkey soup after Christmas or Thanksgiving, lentil soup, what soups do you remember? And it's kind of funny that it was real cold out. I'm sure I ate a lot of cream of mushroom soup, and that's pretty funny, Campbell's cream mushroom. And as soon as I was old enough to figure out how to make soup, that was like the first thing I wanted to make. And it's really funny because it's so totally different. It's so great when you make it homemade, but it just warms you up and makes you feel like you're a kid again, because even though it tastes totally different, it's the thought. It's like I don't use white bread for grilled cheese anymore, but the thought's still there. And this is how you start making those kind of memories. And when I was a kid, we didn't have immersion blender or regular blenders, so everything had to be. A lot of stuff was. I think people use the word rustic because it's kind of chunky, and most of the stuff was more homemade, except for the cans of Campbell's soup in the cupboard for when you weren't feeling well. But it's like ginger ale. That's the cure-all, right? You always had ginger ale in the pantry. All right, I'm seeing little bubbles come back. So what does this mean? So what this means is I just want this, before I blend it all up, I just want this to cook together for about 30 minutes. It might not take that long, but I'm going to tell you 30 minutes because that's your goal, and you really need to watch it. Don't go off playing some game on your phone because you don't want to ignore it. You want to make sure you start getting those small bubbles, and you don't want to get it passed into a rolling bubble or a rolling boil. So we're going to keep checking on it, and I'm going to see you back in like half an hour. Yeah, this is great. Okay, so it's been 25, actually it's been almost 30 minutes. And I just turned off the heat, stirring this around. Everything looks lovely, everything's nice and soft and ready to be blended together. I don't have a whole lot of experience with using a blender in hot soups. I know that people do. I know you don't want to use like a plastic container because it'll probably melt. But you could cool it down, put it in. Just make sure you have a glass. First, you want to make sure it's tempered so it doesn't explode. But you have to research that. The best thing to do is probably let it cool first. Let me get this off the heat here so I can start blending it. And immersion blenders have become such a household thing. They've really become inexpensive. I haven't tried any of the battery-powered ones. I'm not sure they really have the kick you need or the duration, because sometimes when I'm blending up stuff, it takes a while. But just make sure you keep your cord out of the way. If you're really concerned, go to your favorite big box hardware store, and you can get vinyl tubing. It's soft and flexible. Cut it lengthwise, and you can slip it over so that if it hits the pot, the pot's not hot enough to melt the wire, but in some instances it might be. So you could do that kind of proactively. I do that on some other things so our rabbits don't bite through and electrocute themselves. Anyway, so let me see. Always make sure you got this little dial thing. Start kind of low because you got some big chunks. Mine has an on-off. It's a temporary switch, and it also has a turbo mode. So you get down there to it, you can start to use the turbo or just stop and turn it up. So you want to keep it at an angle. We're just going to let her go. Now I'm going to give you a view, show you what it looks like from above. So now you can see from above, and as you can watch, can't talk over my immersion blender too much, but it kind of pulls everything underneath, so it's pretty easy to use. Sometimes I have to use two hands to keep it under control. Don't pull it too far out or you're going to make a mess all over yourself. So now you can see the consistency. Everything's nice and chopped up. It's pretty darn fine. You know, we're not professional chefs, and don't try to be. You have 3 staff people working for you doing it, but to me, this is about the right consistency. Everything's chopped up, looks pretty good. So let's get back to finishing up. All right. So you saw how beautiful that was from a sky shot there. I want to get it back on the stove. Ooh, silicone pads. You know, I talk about this like almost every time I cook. They're just so handy. I have 2 in my kitchen. I throw them on the counter when I need one. I just grab it. You saw that the pot didn't move an inch when I had the immersion blender in. All right, final check. I want to make sure that I didn't miss something really outrageous. And this is the way, you're never going to get it the way Campbell's soup is. And I'm not picking on them, don't get me wrong. But canned soup is, because, you know, they just macerate everything at super high temperatures. And, you know, they've been doing it for 100 years or something like that. I think they've been around. But, so now I've got it, it's still really hot. So why do I call this cream of tomato soup? Well, because I got some half and half here. Cream's a little too heavy, I found, and I just want to drizzle in. Stir, drizzle, stir, drizzle. Da, da, da. Don't be shy. So this was 3/4 of a cup, half and half. Basically, a lot of what we're trying to do with the tomato soup is kind of counteract the acidity of tomato, make it a little more palatable. And to me, this is perfect. This is exactly how you want it. This bad boy is ready to serve. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it smells really good. I know it's going to taste really good. So what's left to do? Ladle-y-hoo. Get it? Ladle. Alright. Let's just take a look and see what we got here. Oh boy, that looks so good. Move my junk out of the way here. Now I dare say you could drop some sprigs of something green in there, maybe a little chiffonade, basil, whatever you want. I'm always thinking, when I was a kid, I liked croutons in my soup. So my mom throw a couple croutons in there. And really, the nice thing about croutons is, you know, I don't salt a whole lot, and there is saltiness to croutons. You know, you get the garlic and cheese ones, or whatever kind you want, the herb ones, and you're going to partake some extra flavor into the soup, and that's why I like it. Obviously, the greens are kind of more, you know, fancy restaurant stuff. I dare say that I'm going through this thing where I really like chives. I would probably cut some chive, put in there just some fairly long pieces, just dance them around, or you could arrange them in shapes if you want. Write someone's name. I don't know how you do that, but it's worth a try. Anyways, this is gosh darn good, and I really hope you try it. So my broken record says subscribe, Love you all. Comment, ring the notification bell, and I'll see you with another great recipe. Have a great day.